What happens if the United States officially enters the war between Iran and Israel? Let's break it down. Not with hype, but with real-world implications that global leaders are gaming out right now behind closed doors. First, if the US launches strikes on Iranian soil, it becomes a direct belligerent, not just a backer. Iran would likely respond immediately by activating proxy militias across the region, in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, hitting US bases and allies with drones, rockets, and potentially even cyber attacks. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries 20% of the world's oil, could be shut down by Iran, sending gas prices skyrocketing worldwide. We're talking $8 to $10 per gallon, possibly higher. Iran could then attempt to strike US military bases in the Gulf, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and launch waves of drones or missiles at American ships. But here's where things could escalate fast. Russia, already at odds with the West over Ukraine, may not jump in militarily, but they'll use the chaos to their advantage, supplying Iran with intelligence, weapons, and political cover at the UN. China, facing off with the US in the South China Sea, may not send troops, but they'll almost certainly back Iran diplomatically and could pressure Taiwan or begin joint exercises with Russia, stretching US forces thin globally. And just like that, we're in a multi-theater global crisis. Not quite World War III, but close enough to make the world hold its breath. Now, let's be real. Will the US get invaded? Highly unlikely. But cyber attacks, sabotage, and terrorist retaliation on US soil, that's a real risk. Intelligence agencies are already ramping up domestic threat alerts. And if the war drags on, SPECT inflation, supply chain crashes, potential reinstatement of the draft of casualties rise, and a global economic shock worse than 2020. And if Iran uses or threatens nuclear weapons, or Israel does, that's the point where NATO, Russia, and China may be forced to take sides. We're not saying it will become World War III, but the dominoes are lined up. This is Ride of the Mind Hive. We give you the breakdown with no filter and no fear-mongering, just straight clarity. Drop a comment. If war starts, what should the US do? History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme.